All right. Welcome back. I feel like I haven't talked to you guys in forever and a day. Let's just make sure you guys can hear me before we get started. Great. Victoria, I got your voicemail. I figured I'll see you tonight, so no worries there. Let's start off with what's going down this week. All right. First and foremost, this is week 4. That means this is the end of the end. All right. This is make or break time. Okay. So, do you guys have any questions before we get too started about week 3, week 4? I'm going to start sharing my screen, but I want to check if you guys have any issues with, and let me start record. Where's my screen share? I do know that we have a new interface in the website, right? You guys have any issues with that yet? I've been trying to familiarize myself with it as well. Pablo, what's up, buddy? Yeah, so I'm not going to say whether or not I think it's annoying, because that's definitely not my place. What I am going to say is get used to it. You know? It's not necessarily annoying as much as it's just relearning where things go. Okay? So it was one way. And it's now another way. For me, the more I go through it tonight, because I have to set up my course for next mod, the more I go through it tonight, the easier it is actually for me to kind of navigate. It is meant to facilitate an easier experience for you guys. All right. But it will start off with some issues in terms of just learning where things go. Okay. I do not doubt that. Okay. But I also do not doubt that you guys will definitely be able to have a better experience than you did before. Okay? Okay, so let's move on and let's go forward with the course. So week 4, I hate to say it, week 4 is like easy breezy. Easy breezy. Have you guys checked week 3 and 4 yet? You guys should ace this bad boy. So week 3 and 4, let me start. Let me put this annotation onto my mouse. I'm glad that didn't change. And we're recording, right? Yes, the light is blinking. Fantastic. So again, as I navigate, please give me a break as I'm trying to see where things go as usual. So over here, if we go back to modules, boom. We should be able to drop all the way down to week 4. Okay? There we go. Boom. Overview, preparing, print ready, and career integration. Okay? There are 2 parts to this week. First is assignment number 4. Second is the week 4 career integration. Are there any questions on that? So there are 2 elements to this, right? I'm actually going to go into the career integration. I'm going to edit it because it seems that the due date was left off. I'm going to add the due date. Hopefully it will pop up on your screens as one of those things that it's required. Let's actually do the 9th. At 11:59 p.m. All right. Save. So you guys should have access to that. I'm actually going to edit assignment 4 because evidently that was the same issue. It seems that the date, we had some issues with the week 3 dates. I did not mark anyone's week 3 work late unless it was submitted after this past Saturday. So actually what had happened was the dates were messed up. So what I did was anyone whose week 3 work was marked late, I went back and fixed it. Anyone who didn't have late work, it was only late after this past Saturday. All right, does that make sense? There was an issue with that. I fixed it. No worries. If you submit it now, obviously it is late. Okay? And if it was submitted after Saturday midnight, it was also late. So this week for week 4, all you have to do is this right here, assignment 4, bang, bang, boogie, real easy in InDesign, and then week 4, career integration. Do you guys want to look through and make sure you can find this and access it? How about I give you guys like a minute or 2 to find it, hop on the website, make sure you're familiar with it because I know we have a new interface. So do that now, all right? That would definitely help to make sure you guys aren't confused later. So take a minute, open up Chrome or Safari and try that now. Ugh. All right, so once you get it, just like type that you got it. All right, so I'll give you guys a minute. I'll try not to breathe too much so you don't hear me breathing all in your face. All right, so Crystal has it. All right, anyone else? Pablo's got it. All right, Victoria, Jenna, Corley, you guys in a minute or so. Let me check, make sure you guys got it. All right, great. So let's assume everybody's got it. Great. So what I want to do is I want to go over the overview of week 4. So week 4, the overview just says, look at the brochure designs for the CRAP principles. You guys remember the CRAP, C-R-A-P? Remember I did this C-C-R-A-P-P, right? So you guys remember those principles that we discussed? Contrast, repetition, alignment, proximity. Okay, those are the ones the school gives you, right? C-R-A-P. I do the C-C-R-A-P-P. So contrast. Oh my gosh, what was the other one? Oh my goodness, I forgot. Now let's do C-R-A-P-P. So contrast, repetition, alignment, proximity was not conceptualized. You definitely made that one up, but good try. Proximity, professionalism. So those are the ones, CRAP, C-R-A-P-P. I thought I had 2 C's in there, but I might not have. So contrast, repetition, alignment, proximity. I want you to remember a second P, professionalism. All right, I want you guys to be sure that your submissions are professional. So what does professional mean to you? If I said make sure that your submissions are professional, what does that mean for you guys? And I'm going to put some notes up that we're going to take right now. All right. Did anybody else lose my sound? Back on. Great. All right. So let's go into assignment. That was from last week. All right. Great. So let's do some notes on this first. Notes, and I think we're good here. All right, so let's take some notes of things to remember considering for this week. Here's why we're going to take notes. Because if you check out the week 4 project, all you guys are doing is fixing your week 2 and week 3 project. Does that make sense? All you're doing is fixing week 2 and week 3. That means if you've already resubmitted and you need an additional critique, reach out to me and I will re-critique it. Or, my suggestion, look at it yourself and see what you feel you still need to improve upon. Okay? And then bring it Wednesday. We'll look at it Wednesday. But the only difference is this. You're fixing week 2 and 3, and then all you're going to do is submit them, packaged and zipped, print ready. Hold on, not done yet. With, and I do believe it says, hold on, a PDF with crop marks and bleeds. So really the only new thing that you guys are doing, the real only new thing that you guys are doing is learning how to do the crops and bleeds. All right. Now, do you guys realize why we're going to take notes? Because this week is not too hard. We simply have to go in and identify what is the best way to actually simply design. Yes, Crystal, so correct. So your submission this week is week 2 and week 3. Okay? Packaged and submitted with a PDF with crop marks in it. Yes, it's a zipped file. Now, I'm going to tell you guys this, okay? All I really need are both PDFs with crops and bleeds. But I want to make sure you guys know how to package a file. Okay? So you do have to zip it and package it. I'm not going to be opening your InDesign file. I'm just going to make sure that everything is properly placed, all the fonts, the images, and the file. I will be looking at your PDF. That means your PDF must be exported in spreads for the trifold brochure. Okay? Your individual pieces we can showcase on Wednesday. Submit them to me via email or onto the actual website itself under week 4. I'll download them before class Wednesday, open them Wednesday, and we will look at them Wednesday. That's probably the best way. Don't email me your work. Let's just say, everyone, if you want it seen, upload it to the website before the class starts. Once the class starts, I'm not going to start downloading and trying to find stuff. All right. Any questions on that? Corley, what do you mean? What if you're confused about the critique? If you're in class Wednesday and we discuss your pieces, you guys should be fine, right? Okay. Hey, Kat, welcome to class. So for you guys, you want to make sure that if you need a critique, you email. If you're not going to be in class, email me with the PDF. If you are going to be in class, upload it to the website by Wednesday. I'll download it, and we will discuss it in class Wednesday. Any questions about the critique for your week 4 work? Yes, I have a new clock in my room. You guys hear the tick, tick, tick. It's really obnoxious, and it's really loud, right? But it's cool because it's a Deadpool clock. I got it from my brother bought me a Deadpool clock because the movie comes out in February. So he bought it for me for Christmas. Kind of cool, right? But it's obnoxiously loud. You're right. There's also sirens outside. You might hear the sirens outside. Woo, woo, woo. You'll probably hear that. Don't know why. It's just living in New York. These things happen. So let's move on to the notes. We talked about CRAP, right? C-R-A-P. Then we talked about what it stands for. Contrast, repetition, alignment, proximity, and I'm going to add plus professionalism. Now we're going to say, what is professionalism in an assignment or in a design? So what constitutes a professional design? What constitutes being professional in a design? Okay, so first submission from Crystal, a design that is relevant to the plan. How about relevant to what the client requires? Right? What else? Okay, so it meets all requirements of the client. We kind of said that, but we'll say it again. Okay, quality. What is quality work? Everyone has different ideas of what quality is. I'm positive we all have different ideas of quality. What I think is quality is definitely not what some people submit to me. However, what you think is quality might be what you're comfortable submitting. It doesn't mean that I'm right or you're right, but it means we have different assumptions of what is quality work. I've had students before who said, "Oh, I have a spelling mistake in my writing. That's okay. I'm just a designer." That doesn't work for me. So quality, attention to detail, good. Design is clear. Okay, this is huge. No images are blurry or pixelated. That is crucial. Love the fact that you brought that up. What else? Think about your own work. Think about what goes into your designs. Innovative and creative. So here's my next question. How do we become innovative and creative? How do we become these things? All right, thinking outside the box. How else? Yes, there you go. Keep up on new designs and design styles. What does that mean that you guys have to do before all of your work? Research. Exactly. Research. And that's the key. And it's funny because I'm going to show you guys some work, and you can clearly tell the students that did a lot of research and the students that didn't. All right. So what else? What else should we remember? You know what? Let's do this. Before we even go into what we need to remember, let's look at some of the work from this week. All right. So I downloaded like 6 of these assignments just to show you guys what some of your peers are doing and so we can critique it. Now, do you guys remember week 3's requirements? All right. So week 3 had some requirements. Let's actually open up the week 3 notes while we're here, so we can see that. And remember, we had the fold here. So let's go in, and Kat, great. Glad you're here then, since we're going to critique it and rip it apart. So even if yours doesn't get seen, my suggestion is that you all look at each other's work and think about your own design. Does that make sense? So any critique we give, you guys have to think critically about your own. Did I make some of the main mistakes, and can I fix them myself? Okay? So first thing is we have to look, all right? The front is the far right panel, right? So the far right panel should have the logo and maybe the introduction if you want it to. Does this have the logo on the front? Yes. What is the issue, though, with the logo? What is the major issue? There's one thing that needs to be fixed. It's hard to read. Why is it hard to read? I know I'm not the only one that sees it, so why is it hard to read? Right, the background is dark, the text is light. The background is dark, the text is dark. So what would be a solution? What would be a solution? I can read the words aqua. I really can't read the word excursions or kayak tours, sales, and service. What is the solution? Kat, what do you think you can do different? Well, you could just change this text to white. Right? So the issue that comes up is if you walk by and see this on a counter, you're going to read the word aqua. You're not going to read the word excursions or the words kayak tour, sales, and service. So what you should probably do is, all of you guys, check your text, and it may end up requiring you guys to go in and tweak the logo so that it is more visible when you have dark text on a dark background, because you definitely need light text on a dark background so it pops out. That's not even negotiable. That's a requirement. All right. The worst thing that can possibly happen is if a client sees this and they say, hey, how come my logo is hard to read? And then you guys get into an argument, right, with the client. That is one thing to avoid. That's the fastest way to lose a nice payday. So you would just say simply, oh, we can lighten that logo to white. We'll get on that. We'll send you something back. Boom, done. All right, so we're going to add to the notes. Contrast is key when you have text over any color or background. Good? Good. Now, there's one thing missing from the back. There's something missing from the back that is crucial to working with a client. Not the fairs. Not the fairs. There's actually one thing even more important. Because I'll tell you what, looking at this, there's no way I'm ever going to call Aqua Excursions. There's no way I'm ever going to be able to go there. That's right. The address and contact information are missing. Okay? So those are a couple other things. Now, again, the reason some of it might be missing is the size of the text. So, Kat, do you remember the size of the text you have here and here? Do you remember offhand? Was it a 14 or a 12, a 10? Not really. Okay, so the question is why? Now, there's a reason why you would have to know the font size. Because you don't have the contact information here, it has to be here. There's no possible way. Number one, it's a requirement under the week 3 work. But in addition to that, there's no possible way that a client can actually contact you to go here because there's no information here to get there, right? So if you know the size of these fonts or you find it, you can always make these font sizes smaller to provide you with the room necessary to put the address. All right, so let's go take a look. I know we mentioned it in class. Let's go back to week 3. All right, so we have that assignment. Aquatext, there we go. Right, I remember we had eliminated some of the text, but I know that we did definitely require to have that information there. So let's make sure that you guys have it there for the final. All right, it is definitely imperative that it's there. Otherwise, again, the client's never going to know. All right. So what did I have as the text here? I believe it's just the website and possibly phone number. Let me open this up and let's take a look real quick. Then we'll get back to the notes and we'll keep on moving on. Let's move on to the next, actually, real quick. The images here. So, Kat, do you see the images are a bit blurry here? So if your images are blurry, most of the time, images are blurry images get blurry because maybe the links are broken. Okay? So you want to make sure that if you have images linked to the InDesign document, you want to make sure the images are there, because sometimes they could be missing or moved. So in InDesign, and I'm opening up my file right now, it should be opening as we speak. All right, and good. Now, you should always check before you export your PDF. You should always check, all of you guys should always check your links tab. Okay? Now notice all of these are here, right? If by chance there's a yellow triangle next to them, it means it's a broken link, right? It means it's a broken link. And that means that when you get the file to export, you are not going to have high resolution images. Does that make sense? So you have to check that all your images are properly linked right here. Any questions on that? Cool, cool, cool. All right, so I'm just going to move this out of the way. Let's move on to the next design. We have plenty to look at, so let's see what else we have here. All right, good. This is Brandon McDuffie. Brandon's not here, so okay. Again, the image here is a bit blurry. This image looks great. This one's a bit blurry. We have a margin here. It's thin, but it's there. So on the front, is the text easy to read for the logo? Good. Is the text easy to read on the back? So remember, when you fold it, this becomes the back panel. Is it easy to read there? All right, the shades are not the same. Of what? The shades of green. Okay, so this green and this green is not the same. Good catch. What would be the solution? What could be the solution? Okay, so maybe you change the color of this background to be darker, But if you make this green darker, then what? Then the dark text is actually really hard to read, right? So I'm thinking maybe you go into the logo, right? And maybe you actually lighten this green from the logo. All right? I think we're pretty good there. Next up, this looks fine. Let's go to the inside. All right, now, I have major concerns about the inside. I think this is phenomenal. I think the front is great and well done. I have issues with the inside. I have one major issue with the inside. So what would be one? Yes, Crystal, everything is all caps. Yes, all caps is hard to read. So solution number one, do not design in all caps. All right? Only headlines can be in all caps. Good. Must design with a hierarchy. Now, does this have a hierarchy? Does this actually have a hierarchy in the design? It definitely does have a hierarchy. Here's my question. Does it have subheads? Does it have a subhead? It has subtitles right here. About Us, Ocean Adventure Tours. So to a degree, it has the start of a hierarchy. Can we agree on that? It has the start of a hierarchy. Okay? We would need a little bit more. All right? First, we need the regular text to be smaller in terms of not being all caps. We would also need, if these are supposed to be the bullets cannot be the same as the headline. Does that make sense? The bullets cannot be the same as the headlines. And then all of a sudden we have centered text. So you guys have to actually check on your stuff. Here's what I think happened, and I can always be wrong. This took so much time that they left it to last minute and threw this together on this page. Could be right, could be wrong. Don't really care because this is what was the inevitable end submission. So this is what gets checked. So this stuff should be left aligned. These bullets are touching the document edge. So can you see that? There needs to be a margin. Okay. One other thing, and Kat, I think you had this issue also. Look right here, guys. These do not line up. See that? Alignment is crucial. So what you guys have to do is go in and make sure you're using the guides to start your text boxes. Any questions on that? Cool. Okay. One thing they do have something nice going on with the images that is consistent. You guys see what it is? There is a consistency going on here. Can you catch the consistency? Yes, they have the blue borders right here and here. So that's a nice way to be consistent. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next one. Good work. All right. This one I really enjoyed looking at. This one I really enjoyed a lot. So, Corley, this is yours, right? I didn't even know it was yours when I looked at it or when I said that I liked it a lot. So that actually means a lot. So you should be proud. Okay. So looking here, what's going on? Page 1. Now, here's why it's hard for your eyes. Now, let's do this. There you go. So this is the cover, right? This is the cover. So when you see the cover, you would see it all by itself. All right, nice color scheme. I like the colors up here. I think the logo fits well. Now let's move on to the back of the design. Now this is what the back would look like all by itself, folded. Any questions on the back? I think, is there a hierarchy? Good. All right, I agree. Good hierarchy. Has the address, has a website. Any issues, any suggestions for changing the back page, the back cover? All right. So, Crystal, what do you think? What would you change? That's right. Don't be shy. Rip it apart. Corley can take it. Let's go. What do you guys think? Corley has to make changes to this for this week. So what changes would benefit this? Okay, so Pablo said the picture should. So you mean the picture? You think the picture should align here, right, with the text? All right, that's a suggestion. Um, I thought that initially because that would make it align with your header also. So that might be something to consider because it actually would align it with the header, which could work. It doesn't bother me though, so I'm not really bothered by it. I love the headers. And then here's the back. Notice the consistency though. There is a consistency. However, I have to tell you, Corley, I'm not a fan of how you switch from blue headlines and black text to black headlines and blue text. So can you tell us why you did that? Was there a reason? All right. So to different, well, I think you can differentiate it by having the blue text to be consistent, but making the text black. I think it would keep them consistent page to page, and you would get the break as well here. But that is up to you. Now let's go to the inside. Oh, you're right. It does fold to the inside. And you do have, well, actually, no. Take a look, Corley. Because this, again, is black text with blue headers. This is blue text and black headers. So this is the fold. I would just make that color scheme match all the way through. I really didn't catch it. I'm actually picking for stuff, but what do you guys think of the inside spread? So here's the inside spread when you open up all the pages. What do you guys think? I have one critique. Still love the design, but I do have one critique. Drop cap. Okay. What do you guys think of the drop caps? What do you guys think? I hate them. There's 3 drop caps in one document. That's unheard of. All right. So, I would agree with Crystal. They're not necessary. I understand the desire for repetition, but does it look here we go. Let's do this. Hold on. I want to do this. And again, this is all the guys. This all takes time. This is learning that takes time. So, magazine spreads. Watch this. So if we look at a magazine spread, all right, so magazine layout. And if we go to images, something interesting happens here. All right. In the most crazy design that I can see in Google Images, how many drop caps are there here on this page? 1. What about here? 1. And there's none here, so we can skip that one. And what about here? Ethical consumerism. 1. So the drop cap is one of the exceptions to the rule, where there's really no repetition. All right, let's keep going. The middle section I love. I like how there's a change in color here, and I like how it breaks up the spread. Here's my question. The About Us is a darker green. Do you guys think that this should match? Do you think this green should be the same? Okay, it would make sense, but didn't bother you guys. Pablo says not necessarily. It doesn't bother me. Like I said, I'm just kind of fishing for things. However, what is this called right here? What is this word tour called right here? Widow. All right. Other than that, you guys are good. So Jenna, Kat, any questions on the hanging widow that's here? I think you guys are the only ones I didn't see comment yet. I agree. Great job. Great job. Let's move on. Let's move a little bit quicker. All right, because I do want to show you before we leave how to submit your work. All right. So again, how would you edit this? So again, this is your front cover, back cover, and the inside fold, just like we have here. If it move, there we go. So any suggestions for this one? Okay? So, logo hard to read. Again, the orange over the blue clashes. Perhaps the white text for excursions and the kayak tours would match the white in the logo. Definitely think that would work. What else do you guys say? Pablo, this is yours. Great. I like the image that spreads across. Doesn't bother me. Clever. But it does, you see how it's a little bit blurry and fuzzy? Maybe you can scale it down a little bit, because I know you probably have to scale it up a lot. So see if you can scale it down a little and see if it'll still fit. Okay. Makes sense what you said. Whoops. What do you think of your font sizes? So what do you think of the font size that you have? It's all looks bold, but it's all really big. Right? It's all really big in terms of font size. So I think you would definitely benefit from a smaller font size. You should really, I'll put it in the notes, you should really not design content text. Should be 12-point font. Higher than 12-point font usually looks too large for children. Subheads can be larger size fonts. Does that make sense? So content, or what's called body copy, like the body of text, so does that make sense for sizing? All right. Good. 12 for body copy. Done. All right, let's move down to the inside. And again, I think just the size of the text is really what's throwing me off. One thing I do want to suggest is for everyone, try to keep all of your body text to the color black. Black is the easiest color to read. Sometimes, and I'll say it, rarely will you see text other than black or white. So even though this is like that faded yellowy flesh tone, tan, eggshell, for the most part, you would want it to either be black or white text. Does that make sense so far? It could depend on the color of the background. It really can. But honestly, the vast majority of designs I've seen, any text that you don't want to be black should probably be white. Unless it's a subhead. Majority of text is usually white. For up here, they do a line on the top. All right, that does work. You have a couple spacing things happening. Maybe you can make these text boxes, these image boxes wider. That way they line up with the text. That can work. And perhaps the same way this has a text wrap, maybe you can edit this image to give this a text wrap as well. All right, so here's what I want to do now. I know it's already, for me, it's 9:10. So it's we've already been here for a little bit over an hour. I want to touch on the quiz and then touch on the assignment. All right, and how to submit that. On Wednesday, we're going to go over your work again. Okay? So Wednesday, resubmit whatever you want to resubmit if you want to resubmit anything. Okay? And then we can take a look there if you have all the appropriate crop marks, bleed marks, submission, etc. Now, first thing I want to look at is this. The career integration quiz. So, here's how the quiz works. There's 3 questions. Your response must be 50 words per question. Any questions yet? All right. Kat, Victoria, any questions on that? Good. So I gave you the questions here. 1, 2, 3. You get 5 points for each question. The first question is, what did you find most valuable from the readings? And why? If you say, I learned how to better prepare my future and my career, they say they'll give you 3 points. I might really give you none. Because that doesn't communicate with me anything. So by saying that, that's really saying that you didn't learn anything. To me. Does that make sense? So you guys need to be as specific as possible when explaining if you understood and what you understood and what you guys learned. The more specific, the better. Yeah, the readings from the textbook. Number 2. What did you find most valuable from the instructor's lectures and why? If you put something like, the lectures were amazing, I learned so much, no credit. If you put something like, the lectures were terrible, I learned nothing, no credit. If you put, my teacher is the best, full credit. Just kidding. No credit for that, right? You guys have to be in depth. What did you like? What didn't you like? What worked? What didn't work? Right? Were the critiques useful? Were the notes useful? Were the, what was it that has you guys coming here for the live session? What do you learn from it? Or what do you think could be improved? And what was the value in the assignments and the assessments, all right, that you guys completed? So this is very, very easy and basic. In all honesty, it's like free 15 points for the final. There's no other way to look at it. This is like a give me. All right? And yes, for me, it's to improve the class. Any questions on the quiz? Quiz is pretty much a no-brainer. Now we get to the InDesign. First, check out the rubric. I've got the rubric right here. Here's how you're graded. 20 points for just handing it in. How amazing am I? You will already get 20 points just for simply submitting something. Number 2, named correctly. 5 points if you name it properly. How do you name it? Design 114, first name, last name, final assessment. Good question, Pablo. You can answer it in Word, then copy paste it, because here's why. Spelling matters. If you have anything misspelled, the highest grade you can get for each question will be a 3 out of 5 for a spelling mistake. And that is if the rest of the submission is perfect. Suggestion? Type it in Word first, spell check, then copy paste into the quiz. When you turn in the file, it should not be all caps. It should be just like it is here. So yeah, let's not do all caps. All right, moving on. Any other questions? Title case, I mean, not a big deal for the submission. You know, first name, last name, I don't really care. Just don't type it in all caps because that's really tough to read. All right, let's keep it going. Now, this assignment, Part A, pre-press, the poster and the trifold. Trifold. That means zipping it, exporting it, and submitting it. Okay, so look under here for pre-press A. All of your projects for A means it's been revised, okay? So it has been edited and submitted properly. So what does that mean? So I'm going to open InDesign again. I have my file. So you're going to be required, you're going to need a bleed in case you never put it. You'll need to edit your week 2 poster and week 3 trifold brochure. Okay? First, go into document setup, file, document setup. Any questions yet? Good. Document setup. All you have to make sure, go to more options and give it a 0.125 bleed. I don't care about the slug, just want the bleed. Okay? 0.125 bleed. Click OK. And you have a bleed. In this view, that red line is the bleed. So right now you're in the normal view and you have a bleed. Any questions on that? Great. So let's put that into words. File. Document setup. More options was the button we clicked. Make sure you have a 0.125 bleed. You need this for when you export the PDF. So back in InDesign, let's say my design is done. I go File, Export. But yet we'll export it second. All right, let's export this second. Let's go File, Package. Any questions yet about packaging? So the next thing we have to do is package it. So we go to Window, we go to Word, sorry. Now you do part 1. Package your document. Part 2 is export the PDF. So package your document, File, Package. And that's all it is. File, Package. Summary. Fonts. Links. All right. Now here's an issue. Check this out. Check this under Summary. What does that yellow thing mean? Yeah, there's an issue. This doesn't actually say the link is broken. What this says is that we have 2 RGB Yes. So what you have to do is go to those images, open them in Photoshop, and then save them out as CMYK. All right? So you open them in Photoshop. If you get an error, if you get a caution triangle, then check what it says. Most often, it will be either 1, you have broken links, and have to relink your images. Or 2. 2 is your images are RGB and you have to take them into Photoshop and change their color mode to CMYK. Any issues with that? Okay, so Pablo said cautioned about fonts. Let me explain this. So let's say we did, I'm going to change this to a crazy font that I have that no one probably has. So let me change this just to a, I think Euro style does not come. I think I did down. Here we go. I know this one doesn't. KG Love You Through. I know that's not a font. That's normal. So if I go File, Package, often what happens is it's going to tell you that they don't have the fonts. So if I package this, continue. Huh. All right, well, actually, it's not giving me an issue. So here's what I don't want to go too much into. Oh, here we go. This warning right here. Restrictions apply to copying font software. Is that the issue? A lot of times you will have to send the font to the designer or the printer if they request it and need it. So look what it says here. For font software licenses from Adobe, you may have used a particular file, blah, blah, blah. Right. It's not because some printers don't print in that format. It's the printers may or may not have the font, and you may not have the rights to send it. This says you do have the rights to send it. So let's say this. If you get this warning, click Don't Show and click OK. Often what happens is Adobe just wants to say, okay, so hold on. Pablo's getting a different error message. They cannot embed the font. Okay, so here's what might be happening. I'll be honest, I'm not positive. Let me search this up real quick. So that happens to you too also, Corley? Now, the font is on your machine because you're using it. InDesign cannot embed font. It happens when packaging, right? Okay. InDesign won't package due to cannot copy fonts. Interesting. Now, again, I'm using Adobe CS6. I'm not using Adobe Creative Cloud. Let me see if this will work. They make it increasingly hard to work with InDesign sometimes, I tell you. All right, let's see what this says. All right. So this is telling you to embed your fonts. So you're probably gonna have to embed them personally. That's what this is saying. All right, so how? This is telling us how. I'm going to take this link and I'm going to send it to you guys over here. So you guys should have that. You can read through that. Embedding fonts during the InDesign export. So I'll be honest, guys. I might have to do some research and figure it out for Wednesday. All right, I'm going to have to read through this. And get back to you Wednesday. Here is I'd have to see your design, Pablo. So Pablo, do you know what design, does it happen in all your stuff? Because Corley, you said it happens in yours too. Does it happen often? Did it happen this mod? Has it happened in the past? When has it happened? All right, so when, I need to know where your fonts are when it's happening. All right, so you guys, you need to, Pablo, here's what I want you to do. I want you to find out where the font is you're using. Okay, so Corley, there's your first issue. Corley said, haven't I created an italic and the font didn't have an italic? If the font doesn't have an italic, then it can't process it. That's the first thing. So let's do this. Here's what I want you guys to do. Pablo and Corley, I want you guys tonight or tomorrow or Wednesday, I want you to come in to class Wednesday and just have a PDF of yours and possibly the InDesign file and just ready to tell me where this issue's popping up. All right, so where is the font that's giving you the issue when you're doing it, and what's it happening with? So, Corley, you said it happened because you thought you had an italic font of that font's name. The font style does not have an italic style, so therefore that is correct. The InDesign document would not be able to export it because that actually font does not exist. Pablo, I need you to check yours also, though. So let's say it does work. So we already file exported it. And if I go to my folder, I already have right here, I already have my folder. Look, I'm going to highlight it green so you guys can see it. There's my trifold folder. It's got my InDesign file, my links, which are my images, and my document fonts that I use. So it does pretty much have everything. All right. What is missing though? What is missing though? Yes, the PDF. The package does not have a PDF. You have to make the PDF yourself. All right? You have to make the PDF yourself. So now I'm going to open up the InDesign file again because I closed it. I'm going to go File, Export. Then I'm going to make sure it's in the correct folder. Good. It doesn't really matter, Pablo. I usually make the PDF after I package it, and then I just export the PDF into that folder that's already been packaged. So that's how I'm going to tell you guys to do it. I'm going to say, then package it. After packaged, check to make sure the InDesign file is there, the links folder, and the font folders is there. Move to part 2. So now, File, Export, PDF. Make sure your PDF has crop and bleed marks. Make sure you save the PDF in the packaged folder. So here we go. Save it into this folder. Done. Save. Before we keep going, all pages, okay? Now, depending on the printer, you may or may not want to export it as spreads. It really depends on the printer, okay? I definitely want it as spreads so I can see your design, okay? Okay? So, general, highest quality, all spreads. Good so far? High quality, all pages. Check off the box that says spreads. Good. Then go to marks and bleeds. Click on crop marks. Click on bleed marks. Click on use bleed settings. Got it? So go to marks and bleeds. Click on crop marks. Click on bleed marks. Check off the box that says use document bleed settings. Why are we checking off that box? Why are we checking off this box right here? Okay, so I can see if you have the bleed. It says bleed settings. So by clicking on use the bleed settings, notice it changed it to 0.125. 0.125 is the bleed setting we told InDesign to use, isn't it? Yes, that's the answer. So what you want to do is click on use the bleed settings because you really want to use the settings that you already told the program to have. All right, click export. And I'm going to close this document. And guess what? In my Trifold folder, I now have the PDF and the InDesign file all here. Now notice, if I look at the Trifold brochure, I have these two marks. What are the first marks? Yeah, this is the bleed. No, sorry. This is the crop. This is where the printer's going to cut the page. The first one. The second one is the bleed. So you need to make sure that your image bleeds off because look, you want to make sure the printer has room to cut. Because here's what often happens. If this is the document, the printer needs to cut right here along the first crop mark. If you don't have this bleed, you might be stuck with a white line if they cut too much. Does that make sense? That's why you guys have a bleed. The bleed is there specifically to make sure if the printer screws up, you still have some color on the document page. Got it? Any questions on that? Yeah, it's a leeway. It's extra space in case they screw up. That's all. Okay? So that's the reason you have the crop and the bleed marks. The bleed mark shows how far it's bleeding off, 0.125. The crop is where the printer is actually going to cut it. Victoria, Kat, Jenna, any questions? Haven't seen you guys comment on the crop and bleed, so I want to make sure you guys get it. Super duper. All right. So no issues on this, correct? We're all good here with the crops and bleeds. We already exported the hell out of it. Now, look. When I exported it, I put it into the Trifold brochure folder. Then what do? I go to week 2. I do the same exact thing. I go to the poster that we made. I package it. I zip it. And then by the time we're done, you should have, and I'm just going to duplicate this to get it over with, you should have the poster and the Trifold shoulders. The poster and the Trifold folders. Does that make sense? So you just do the same process for the other file. Now, what do we do from here? We highlight the poster and the trifold. We zip them both, right? Compress them. And this will be what you submit. So when I open this zipped file, what I actually am going to have is the poster and the trifold folder inside it. Does that make sense? All right. So make sure you save the PDF in the package folder. Then complete part 1 and part 2 for the week 2 poster and the week 3 trifold brochure. Yes. Submitting it. All right. Submitting it. Let's go over submitting it again. And then I'll let you guys go for the night. Submitting it. As of now, you have one packaged folder for the poster with the exported PDF with the crop and bleed marks. You added to it. You also have one packaged folder for the trifold with the exported PDF with the crop and bleed marks. You added to it. Now, to submit it, zip both folders into one zipped file. I will open the zipped file and have both folders to grade you with. Any questions on that? Did we kind of clean that up a little bit? All right. Anything else on that? Are we good with this so far? Great. Okay. Are there any questions about actual design processes and using InDesign or Photoshop? Because I'm kind of ready to let you guys go. But I do want to make sure that you guys are comfortable. All right. So is there anything else that you guys have any issues with? And obviously we'll meet again on Wednesday. All right. Good. All right. So you guys go ahead. I'm going to let you guys go. Let you guys have a great night. We will be back here on Wednesday. Okay? So you guys should be good to go. Bring any questions with you. And, bring your work. If you want to submit something early, we can take a look at it during class. All right, guys, great work tonight, and I will see you in a couple of days. And I will post the notes and the live session in a few minutes once they're done. Hey, good work, guys. Thanks.